A judge has ordered Bill Cosby to turn in a sworn deposition in a civil lawsuit he's facing from a woman who alleges that he sexually assaulted her when she was 15 years old. The woman in question here is Judy Huff, and Bill Cosby allegedly fondled her against her will and made her perform a sex act on him against her will. So let me give you the details on that. Now, the latest order made public on Wednesday, a day after a Los Angeles Superior Court judge entered it, requires Cosby to submit under oath to questions from the lawyer of his Los Angeles accuser, Judy Huff, on October 9th. Now in her 50s, Huff must likewise answer questions from his attorneys on October 15th. She already has a pretty big advantage knowing that he's the person who needs to turn in the sworn deposition before she does. But I'm very curious to see how this all plays out because remember, his last sworn deposition is what got him into a lot of trouble with the media and the public as of late. He admitted to buying Quaaludes with the intention of giving them to young women to have sex with them. So I'm very curious to see what happens in this next deposition, and I'm glad that a judge has ordered it. Now, I should state that the statute of limitations has obviously run out when it comes to any criminal charges. He's never been convicted of any criminal charges whatsoever. However, in this civil lawsuit, the statute of limitations has not run out because she maintains that she continues to suffer from emotional distress as a result of what happened to her when she was 15. Now, her complaint, brought in December of 2014, charged that Cosby sexually abused her by putting his hand down her pants and then taking her hand in his hand and performing a sex act on himself without her consent. Her complaint is one of at least 4 pending civil suits against Cosby stemming from such accusations. I should note that hers is the only civil suit that is seeking monetary or money for damages. The other lawsuits are for defamation. Because what happens is oftentimes they will accuse him of rape or sexual assault, and then he'll turn around and say malicious things about them.
I think, first of all, not poor, but I mean Martin Singer, who's Cosby's attorney. I mean, man, this is a tough job. I mean, of course, yeah, you could turn it down.
Yeah.
You know, more than, as you mentioned, more than 40 women have come forward. I mean, just, you know, bounds of reason. There's no reasonable argument here to the other side. I mean, I guess it's possible that 1 or 2 of these women, maybe 5 or 6 of them, are trying to pile on for money. Many of them aren't asking for money. I'd say 40 of them are telling, all of them are telling versions of the truth.
Also, keep in mind, a lot of the allegations came about over the last year. And you're right, a lot of them, most of them, aren't seeking any money. They're not planning to sue him in a civil suit. They can't go after him in a criminal case.
Yeah, they're just not afraid anymore.
They're not afraid anymore, and they want to come out and tell their stories. And I mean, how much evidence do you need? At first, I was like, benefit of the doubt, he hasn't been convicted. I feel really uncomfortable calling him a rapist or someone who's done sexual assault when he hasn't been convicted. But when he's already testified under oath that he bought drugs with the sole intention of drugging women that he wanted to have sex with, what other evidence do you need? It came from the horse's mouth.
Right, and the first women who did this were making a suggestion. They would never have known that he would ever admit to that. They would never have made that up. That's a crazy thing to make up, right? Unless they had experienced it in some way. So yeah, my guess is, and this is a totally out of left field guess, is that Bill Cosby's about to get sick and not give any more depositions. And we've probably seen, you know, he'll get out of it by saying he's too ill, and eventually, and my suspect is, because then he can't perform, is that my guess is we have seen the final Bill Cosby performance in front of a crowd. Maybe that's so odd. Well, I mean, keep in mind, until 2 months ago, he was performing.
Well, that was because it's unfortunate, but all that people heard from was the women themselves, and they were all very skeptical about these women.
So you think the fact that his deposition came out meant that he was done anyway?
I think that really did change people's minds. And it's unfortunate because, look, on one hand, it's unfortunate because if someone is coming forward and saying that they've been raped, they're met with a lot of skepticism, right? Man or woman. But there's also the bright side of that, because if they're lying, well, it's good that people don't just believe them off the bat. But at the same time, there was so many women that came forward. It was really difficult to just dismiss every single one of them.
I would love him to do an interview, and I'm sure they discussed that, but it would go poorly. I would love him to be interviewed by my brother, who I think is really, you know, I mean, Dateline does mostly murders now, but, you know, when my brother was doing He is tough, man, and I would love to see Bill Cosby escape the questions of a sort of a journalist who had who was out for blood. Because Cosby, first of all, just based on the behavior and the repetition of the behavior and the predator-like repetition of the behavior, he feels invincible. So I wouldn't be surprised if he thought, I'm gonna tell the story, and
Right.
I'm gonna straighten it out. But you don't want it to be with somebody who goes soft on him.
That's
right?
absolutely right.
So I doubt he'll do it, but I would love to see that interview.